5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You are inside the guest studio.
Maybe about. Do you have any idea?
I don't know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so
because it's been on a couple of messages I've gotten, not just yours. So I'm wondering if that's some digital thing. I don't know. All right, never mind.
We're just gonna go for it. I got a level on you. You sound great. You sound like you're in the same room. How are you, Larry?
I'm fine. You know, this COVID thing is just weird. Yeah, I mean, everybody's wearing a mask. It looks like a city of thieves, man.
It depends on where you are. I think it actually is in some places. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess so. No, I'm near the beach. I'm Santa Monica, California.
So what's it been like there? Are people taking it seriously? I know that there's been some disruption, like in the mail and things like that, because of COVID.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, UPS. They just told me that I had to mail a registered letter, and they said we can't guarantee registered letters anymore. That's weird, man. The people. I live near the beach, so it's kind of weird. I think in the last 2 days, we'll see. The weekend they shut down the beaches on the weekends here, but people have been not wearing masks because of the beach, because of the bathing suits, and we don't need anything, and that really bugs me. So I just avoid everybody, and people are starting to dig that. So everybody's avoiding everybody, and it's like PTSD, man. I mean, when this is over.
Right.
I don't know if I'll ever trust anybody ever again coming close to me. I will never shake anybody's hand.
How are we going to get back? But I think we got a long ways to go, though. I just can't even imagine. Yeah. Everybody's doing something different, and every country's doing something different. Every state, every town. So yeah.
Well, we're the worst, and the world is doing a lot better, except us in Brazil. So not everybody. The countries are kind of ameliorating it. They're dealing with it. We're not dealing with it. I mean, maybe today we are, but up until now, this country is sorely behind the world.
Well, and I think in the case of Brazil, that there was a lot of denial there. I don't think the citizens were in denial, but obviously the president was in denial.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Well, the people here are in denial. I'm telling you. I mean, I can tell you firsthand that they're in denial.
Well, and everybody,
because I see them.
And everybody has their own theory. It's how they should handle it, and there's people that I'm convinced they're convinced that they can overcome it no matter how bad it gets, and so they don't care.
But there's only 2 or 3 ways of dealing with it. See, that's the thing. Your statement is assuming that everybody is just doing it differently, and one of these things will work. No, there's only like 1 or 2 ways. Anything else is different. You got to cover your face. I mean, nobody says that you shouldn't cover your face. So I see a lot of people not covering their face. Now, all the other things I don't know about. But if you're not covering your face, you're stupid and you're not dealing with the problem. And and that's a fact that I can't get around because I'm near the beach and I see it every day. People are just standing with drinks in their hand on the sidewalk without a mask. I mean, that's stupidity.
What are the crowds like there?
Well, now, ever since the 4th of July, they got cops by the beach, but the bars near the beach, not on the, I don't know if it's on the boardwalk because I haven't gone there, but the bars a half a block away from the beach are serving liquor if you stand. Well, what they do is they take tables and they put it out on the sidewalk. So that gives the impression that you don't have to go inside to drink. Your restaurant, the bar is on the outside because we have tables on the. So what people do is they take their drinks and then they go into the middle of the street and drink because there's not many cars a half a block away from the beach. So I mean, there's I don't know about theories. I just see stupidity, and I know it's a weird word to use, stupid, but there's no other way to describe it because for the last 4 months, people, the television and radio and podcasts and people in their homes have been talking about what to do about the coronavirus. And there's only a couple answers, wear masks, don't go outside, don't go into bars, don't huddle up, don't be in crowds. I mean, that's worldwide hygiene.
Right.
And I mean, so I don't, I don't have, look, here's where I'm coming from. I don't have much trust in Homo sapiens. I think as a species, we're pretty stupid.
We don't have a very good track record.
No, we don't. And as far as just species, I mean, like cats and birds and tigers and lions and rats, we're the least aware of our surroundings and our environment and where to eat and where to shit. I mean, it's just we're stupid.
Well, and look in the last 50 years what we've done. I mean, we've made technology has progressed in leaps and bounds, but yet we have nowhere to put our trash anymore. And
right, that's exactly.
There's the moon, Larry. They
it's a garbage dump. But yes, the first couple will explode in the atmosphere and rain garbage down until we get it right. I mean, and then Russia will try it, and all their stuff will rain down, or some small country or whatever, or some state. Or some governor. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I remember. It's just I remember as a kid, we used to sleep outside and look up and.
At the stars, right?
And I used to
remember the stars.
We used to, and it was a great time. And we used to see a satellite. Like maybe you'd sleep outside, and one night you'd see a satellite go by. Now you can sleep out, and if you can see the stars because it's so bright out. With streetlights and whatever,
exactly.
You see a satellite like every 15 seconds, and even space has too much stuff. I can't even imagine.
Oh yeah, the garbage in space is amazing.
There's going to be a crash up there. There's got to be something hitting something up there sometime. But
as big as space is, I mean, I realize there's a lot of space out there, but still, yes,
tremendous amount of space.
A crash. And we don't realize that if you look at the solar system, I mean, everybody understands the solar system. I mean, there's just this little tiny blue dot in the middle of nothing. This is it, folks.
Right.
There is no going to the moon for everybody. There's going to the moon for 3 or 4 people.
Right. Yeah. Come on. 3 or 4 people need that much room now. But
come on, folks. I just can't believe it.
Yeah, it's and there's always this conversation about going to Mars and exploration and we could possibly screw that up too, and we would. But,
but it will take us at least 1,000 years, 500 years. Okay, 500 years maybe to get, traction on commuting to the moon. Okay, 500 years commuting to the moon. So that's why 200, 300, 400 people maybe. But this Earth is not going to be able to support us in 500 years. So we're going to shoot 20 or 30 or 500 people up on the moon. They're going to be lost up there, and we're going to be dying down here. I mean, the logic doesn't compute with the engineering and the science. You know what I'm saying? We can't. Our scientists once straightened it out for me. He said, look, our imagination has way outstripped our intelligence.
That's a good quote.
Well, that's the greatest quote, because that's where all the shit I just told you is coming from, that one quote. Yeah. Yes. I mean, that's right, man.
So
we're like little... Yeah, go ahead.
You've been around longer than I have. When you first heard of COVID-19 and the implications of that, did you get a feeling of some sort of apocalyptic feeling? I mean, you've been around. You were around during the Vietnam War and the Korean War. And
I was when they first sent the first satellite up, when they first landed on the moon. Yeah, right. So I was there.
So but were you feeling? I mean, how did COVID-19 compare to those feelings of these tragedies that have occurred on this planet in the last 65 years?
Everything else was far away from me. So it was like tragedy for Iran, for the desert, and it had nothing to do with me. And so even the tragedies in space, the blowing up of the spaceship, and the blowing up of the buildings in New York, that I still didn't touch me. I mean, and only a couple of thousand people died. Only now. I'm only saying only now. I didn't say only then. There was 3,000 people died in that building. But now, I mean, never mind 3,000. There's people dying in the tens around me. There's, in the hospital near me, there's people dying, right? So, and then I go out and I have a mask on and I wear gloves and, glasses and a mask. So I have to suit up to go outside. I mean, I have to suit up to get in the elevator. I have to wear a mask in the elevator. I can be the only one in the elevator. I live in an apartment. 9 floors. So but only one person or one group, from one apartment can be in an elevator at one time. So I'm touched by this tragedy. And so it becomes amazingly big and huge. And, I don't watch much television, but what I do watch is the news and Nova. So I'm watching the news is the bulletins of what's going on now, and Nova is the history of the planet. And they're going together very well as far as species disappearing over 4 billion years and how long each species has been around. And we haven't been around even as long as dodo birds, and they're gone.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean, so the tragedy now is in my personal face. I have to wear a mask. That's really in my face. So every time I walk out my apartment door, I have to put a mask on. And that's a confrontation of, hey, this is what's happening now, Larry. And, I'm watching Nova and species disappear. And then I'm watching the news and people are stupid. It doesn't give me a great confidence in being a Homo sapien.
I remember back during 9/11, and I had this feeling that, apparently we weren't prepared for this. And, it was overwhelming. And every day I would check the news because I would, in my mind, I would say to myself, I need to see what's happening with our world today.
Yeah.
And I did that for a couple of years, and watching, clicking on whatever news source just to make sure that everything was okay, not to read the news, but making sure everything was okay. So, and thinking that, there was all these planes that conceivably they were training people, and then all of a sudden these planes in a coordinated effort caused all this destruction and death, and we couldn't do anything to stop it. And to me, thinking that the U.S. was always prepared, we have missiles, we got all this stuff, and then COVID-19, we don't have masks. We didn't. There were masks, but then there was no toilet paper, and then there was
still no toilet paper.
And there was no rice, and there was no. I was like, wow, it can happen in 3 days. We can be out of masks and toilet paper and rice, and and
there you
Campbell's
go.
soup. I mean, that's crazy.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, you call it crazy, I call it stupid. Whatever it is, it's not proactive.
No,
You know.
no.
So,
And who has how much? What do you have in your home? What sort of supplies do you have? Do you have a bug out kit? I mean, I've interviewed people who are ready for the next apocalypse, and really I have I have a a 6-pack of beer in the refrigerator and maybe
yeah, right. Well, I went through it with the atomic bomb. We had these cellars, all these atomic bomb safe cellars, and things buried in their backyards where you could go down into these. But they're a waste of time. It's I think the answer to what you're talking about is and this, I guess, is maybe it's just a biological thing. I mean just vertebrates, is that they only plan for what's going on now. There's just so much. I mean, maybe squirrels with nuts, they understand
right
the long haul, but we don't. I mean, as countries, as individuals, yeah, people, there's hoarders and stuff like that. But as a species, as a country, as a group, we only react to that which is in our face. I mean, I have to put on a mask every day. I am very aware, therefore, and I have gray hair, so I'm in a very high, vulnerable, demographic. So because it's in my face all the time, yeah, I'm preparing for, like I'll stock up my refrigerator, not too much, because I still believe that our food supply is not dwindling that much that I have to worry about that part of it. But as a species, we don't prepare for things like more masks down the road. Like even now with the COVID thing, with masks in the hospitals, we are now 15 days away. I was just watching the news. We're now 15 days away from hospitals in hotspots. Hotspots, that's such bullshit. And hotspots that are 15 days away from running out of 95 masks or 995 masks, whatever they're called. They're 15 days away, and some hospitals are 3 days away from beds being available. And so they're trying to. So what they're doing now is they're ordering 15 days worth of masks and trying to set up about 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 more beds outside of the hospital. Well, what they're doing then basically is they're not preparing for the future by buying masks and beds now. They're preparing for what's going to happen in 15 days. That's not the future. The future is, a couple of months down the road when it gets really bad, because it's going up now. It's not going down. So our concept of preparing for the future is atrophied. We've never been in trouble before, so we don't think any trouble will ever happen, except maybe in 15 days. But we're not planning for the future, for the real future. For like January and February and March and April, so I don't know. But it's a I've had this conversation over and over again. I'm honing it down. I'm getting it shorter and shorter, but still it's a logic conversation that I'm having with you. It has no manifestation in reality.
Right. And
nobody's doing anything about it. We're just talking about it.
And I think one of the things too that has changed dramatically in especially like in huge hospitals, of course, in New York and in Los Angeles and places like that, those medical professionals are used to disposing a truckload of masks a day, where they would go to some sort of landfill or whatever. Now they're recycling masks and they're using them longer than necessary. And
okay, why?
Yeah, because they just don't have them.
Why?
And I think one of the reasons why is because everybody who doesn't need masks, they're hoarding all these masks, and not making them available to the medical professionals who need them on the front line.
Okay, there they go. There you are. So the only two things I can think of who would be hoarding masks are corporations and rich people.
Yeah.
So when it all goes over, rich people don't give a fuck about us because when it's all over, who's going to be left?
Right.
Rich people and corporations. I mean, that's not the way a species survives and prospers.
No,
it's not. I mean, but all I can do is laugh about it, make jokes about it, because they don't listen to the real logic. I mean, you talk to anybody who's not wearing a mask, and they very logically have a reason why they're not wearing a mask. To them, it's totally logical why they're not wearing a mask. Either they're young, or some radio show said, or the president said, or their wife said, or their friend said, or they just made it up.
Well, the worst one is, I think, it infringes on my constitutional rights, which is absolute.
Yeah, right.
Bullshit.
There you go. Well, there's a logical. Yeah, right. But that to them, that's logical,
right.
And in other instances, that's totally right. You do have a right to do any fucking thing you want, like not wear a mask, because there's no law against it. So yeah, you're right. You do have but to have the right and to use it in a toxic situation is stupid. It's stupid.
I don't think anybody thinks about the profound situation that has occurred where now our medical professionals will be working, 7 days a week, conceivably forever. Nobody cares about that.
Well, okay, here's the logic of that. Okay, so we're going to go into war, say. Okay, I'm making this up now. We're going to go into a real war, shooting war with guns and tanks and everything like that. So we're going to go into a war, but it's going to be in the desert. But okay, so we're sending 50,000 soldiers, our best trained. We're really cool, sending our soldiers into the desert, and the enemy only has 1,000. So we got 50,000 troops against 1,000. That's really great. Okay, so we're going to win this war. Oh, easy peasy. However, they've got 1,000 guys with guns, and none of our soldiers has any guns. Okay, so are we going to win that war or not? I don't think so. But we're sending soldiers who are first responders dressed in white into a battle that the president said is a war, that they can be killed, and they don't have enough supplies. They don't have masks. In other words, the soldiers don't have guns. They don't have any way of protecting themselves. And that's our first line of defense. Our first responders do not at any given moment in this country have enough supplies to protect themselves from the people that they're treating. I mean, come on, man. That's dodo bird thinking. That's not dealing with the reality of what's given to you. I see that, and then I go off into La La Land. I go into what kind of species am I involved with? That's not my thinking. That's not my humanity. That's not my compassion. I don't know whose compassion or what that is, but it's stupid. That's the only word I can come up with, but this, and now at this point, there's no more logic that we can discuss. I'd like to get off this subject because we're flying up our own assholes now.
Absolutely. Well, and this is just one of those things that, you run into every day. The difference is, how stupid we are, but the difference is it gets shoved in your face, every time you want to look outside, or anytime, you're on the street and you're going to meet with somebody. If you just look at the fact that, everybody knows at least one person that you can stand 3 to 4 feet from and have a conversation with, and they have saliva just flying out of their mouth.
Yeah, right. But the point is that what we're talking about is people and Homo sapiens.
Right.
Okay,
right.
But no, the leaders. Trump and the Republicans, I'll lay it on them. But the people, because the other countries of the world don't have our problem. I mean, yes, they may have a second wave, but we're still in the first wave, and we've far outstripped the entire world as far as COVID, people dying or getting sick. And we're not listening to the right people. So yeah, it's us. It's even me. I probably, somehow I'm adding to the weirdness of it. I don't know how, but I'm part. But the leaders. There's no leaders now. Name me a leader who he's Trump is giving it to the governors. That's not the way to handle a virus. That's not. It's a way to handle the next election. Absolutely. Possibly. I don't think so. But it's not a way to handle a virus. So coming from the top, and then so the people in the second and third and fourth and fifth tiers who have the truth are trying to fight through the bully pulpit. And so both ends. So I've got stupid people downstairs on the street, on the beach, not wearing any masks. And then you got the leaders who are in another country. They're in Washington, D.C., sloughing it off onto governors who their hands are tied, because if they do any big wrong move, we'll cut, your budget, or I'll fire you. Anybody, in Washington, D.C. is afraid for their mortgage. It's all run by mortgages, but basically. The fear factor is mortgages. If I lose my job, how will I keep my family sheltered? And everybody in Washington, D.C. has really big houses. I see them because they're all on Zoom now, and I can see the backgrounds. And all they got is bookshelves and beautiful kitchens. What are they? They're fighting for their mortgage. They're not fighting even for their lives. They're fighting for their mortgage and their family. But they're not fighting for me or you or anybody else who's not in their tax bracket.
Right.
So there's very many ways I can go at this, but it all comes to the same thing. It's very frustrating. And I don't care what we're talking about. Nothing's going to be done about it. So this is a ridiculous conversation. It really is.
So we've been talking about this pandemic. When are we, do you think, well, I hope not, but do you think we're going to be talking in the future about an endemic? Is this just around forever?
Well, I think you're breaking up a little. So say that again.
We've been talking about this pandemic. When does it become endemic? Is it endemic meaning it's not going away? Like the common cold. I mean, this.
Whoa! Stop! Your microphone is going. Is there something wrong with your microphone? It's just dropping out.
Maybe it's a phone thing. You sound good. How's that? Testing 1, 2, 3. You got me.
Well, it's a little better, but
okay.
Okay. Anyway,
well, I'm just thinking, when does this problem become endemic, and then we just have it around forever, like the common cold, and we get a cold once a year, because obviously it's going to be like fighting the common cold, which I don't think we've ever cured that one.
No, and then we're thinking about the future, about we're going to get a what do you call it? A vaccine. I mean, so that's way down the road. And so everybody has now got their money on the vaccine. It's like the stock market, man. I mean, I've been in and out of the stock market, and finally I gave up because that it's now being played with by the powers who can take about, $3 or $4 million out of one stock, have it dropped and buy it back at the low price. With the $3 million that they took out, now they got, now they're at the floor, they buy it back, and now it starts to go up again. So they've just now doubled their money if it goes back to the same place or at the point that they sold it. I mean, it's all a game, and we are not in the game. So whether it's COVID virus, or it's anything else, the election. I mean, now they're starting to play with the voting thing. I mean, it's all a big fucking game, man. And that leaves us out. I'll play. A friend of mine told me this, and he's right on. He was a Hell's Angel, as a matter of fact. He says, I'll play any of your fucking games, man. Just tell me what the rules are. So that's what's going on. It's they're playing the game and we don't have the rules. I'll play it. You want to play that? Fine. And what Trump did is he took it to the ultimate. He said, "Oh, I get it. Politics is corrupt. Oh, you want to be corrupt? Oh man, that's a game I can play really well." And he got in and he's doing it, man. He's playing their game way better than they ever played it. He's corrupt to an nth degree. He's the most corrupt president there's ever been on this side of the Atlantic.
Well, we have a lot of examples to look at too nationwide. You know, the president of the Philippines and Brazil. I mean, you know, do we want that? No.
Yeah, but
we don't want that. You know, but we
got no. Yes, we got it. When you say wait a minute. When you say we, who's we? We don't want that.
Well, I don't want it, and I think.
Oh, you don't want it? Who the fuck are you?
I'm nobody.
Okay, so what do you? So stop saying we.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, the guy is in the office, so where's the we?
Yeah, that's a good point because, you know.
Of course, it's a good point.
I mean, I don't want that, and I can't even.
You're talking like this is a democracy,
right?
I mean,
right.
It's a pretend democracy. It may be a little more democratic than maybe other countries, but when you say we, this country has less we than me and another guy in this room. And there is nobody in this room. So there is no we in this country right now. Right now, there is no we. There's them, and there's me and you, and then there's other people. So there's like 4 or 5 different. I don't know.
I think when I was 7 or 8 years old, you know, is when I first heard the word Watergate, and then of course, going into high school, we watched All the President's Men. What a hugely interesting situation in the United States that played out a hell of a lot differently than this presidency is playing out, and all the issues and problems and potentially illegal things that are happening within the White House. How did we change? Where did we change? Why can't we get things done?
It was incremental over the last 40 years.
I mean, where's the checks and balances?
It's incremental. Well, I mean, that's a major question right now. The Democrats are wusses and the Republicans are just greedy fucks, man. I mean, that's the only words I can use. It's, you know, the wusses or greed and corrupt. That's it. There's the wusses of the Democrats and the corruption of the Republicans. I mean, yeah, you can blame Trump, but they're all going along with it. And here's the thing. Okay, here's a perfect example of the whole thing. Have you ever heard of there's a Republican group, a little small cartel that are putting out ads against the Republicans. Are you familiar with them? They're Republicans for Freedom or something like that. But they're for the Democrats for the election. So what they're doing is putting out political ads against Trump and the Republicans. But they are themselves high-ranking Republicans who have got together. They're rich Republicans. We're saying, you know, enough of Trump, enough of people who are for Trump. Okay, so they're putting out these ads, and they're vicious, but they're right. I mean, but they're go for broke. They're not, in other words, they're at the level of Trump's ads against the Democrats and Trump's tweets against whoever, against his own people who he hired and then fired and then hates. So there's this group of cartel putting out these Republicans. They're the only ones right now, and it's really weird because their ads are so toxic against certain Republicans who have sold out, like Lindsey Graham and blah blah blah, and Trump. But the Democrats are hiding behind and using these ads, like on MSNBC and all the Democratic news outlets are showing these ads. I think maybe because they're paying a lot of money to put the ads out, they're probably even on Fox. But the point is that they're showing how chicken shit the Democrats are and how evil the Republicans are for going along with this crap and just nodding and being yes men to Trump's corruption. So all we have left is these very rich Republicans who are really not Democrats, but they're certainly not. Well, they are Republicans. It's just that the Republican Party is not the Republican Party anymore. They're Trump's party. And so they're trying to, but being a Republican is no great shakes. I mean, so right now you've got no great shakes in the Democratic Party. A couple of rich Republicans are still Republicans. And then you got Trump's party, and they're no better than Trump. And then you got Trump. So, and then you got you and me, who, may or may not disagree on all points. So, what? I mean, the country is right now effed, and I don't see any way out. Even the election is going to be up for grabs because of, Trump saying, oh, well, mail-in would be a fraud. It's open for fraud. And the company, and the country is under rampant COVID disease. And so nobody wants to go out of the house to vote. And he's saying, no, you can't vote from home by mail. It's corruption. I mean, the lies and everything like that. So, but again, this is a ridiculous conversation you've sucked me into.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I mean, there's no point to it. This has been what I've been telling you is stuff I've heard over and over and over again for the last 3 months. I'm just like capsulizing it and synopsisizing it for you. That's all.
But what just to back up a little bit, and I mentioned Watergate. I mean, what do you remember from back then? It just seems to me that everybody was ready to pounce on the president, and they did. And then, Nixon resigned, which was in my mind. I mean, right now since 2016, there's been a lot of serious things that have happened within this White House, and
with what? With what?
There's been so many different illegal things that have happened within this White House, and that's just kind of status quo. Nobody's ready to pounce. I don't see anybody ready to resign.
Right.
And things have changed so dramatically. It's just amazing. I can't figure that part out.
It's mortgages, man. That's the bottom line. It all goes down to mortgages. And in other words, here, the rich people have mortgages. They're trying to protect their money and mainly their mortgage. They have to pay a mortgage every month. They have a certain amount of income. Well, if you have like $1 million a day coming in and your mortgage is $1 million a month, you're cool, man. Yeah, my mortgage is $1 million a month, but I got $1 million a day coming in. And then all of a sudden, you're only getting $1 million a month.
Right.
Well, now you're underwater. How nice. What a nice phrase. You're underwater. You're fucked. That's what it means. So I'm underwater now. And now I got to fight for my mortgage. So I work for Trump or I work for any president. And I'm not going to go against what he says, because if he fires me, I got $1 million mortgage and I don't have any income. So I can't, I got a child. I got 3 child. I got 5 children. I'm a very rich man. I have 5 children. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go along with the boss. I'm going to go along with the president. I'm going to go along with whatever gets me my mortgage. That's where it all stems from. As far as now, that's Larry Hankin talking. I didn't get that information from anywhere else. That's what I've come up with. The bottom line is, if you have a mortgage payment, if you got a rent payment, if you're living in a house, if you're not homeless, you're beholden to the man, mainly for food and shelter. And that's where your needs, that's where your bottom line comes in. Any family who has to have put food on the table and has rent to pay, they are beholden to saying yes to their boss. Whether you're working in a burger joint, a coffee house, or for Apple, you're beholden to your boss to keep your job. Because right now, if you lose your job, there's not that many jobs you can go to. In a really cool economy that we've had now and again, yeah, you're not too worried because there are other. I have a very good skill set that I can apply to several other job offers that are open right now. But right now, no, COVID, no, everybody is sweating their job and working from home. And, look, I'm not perfect, so I lose it every once in a while. Like I'll shout, I'll go, hey, man, what do you mean? But, when you call on tech, for your computer and you lose your computer, I mean, that's very frustrating and it's immediate and it has nothing to do with COVID or politics or your money or your mortgage. It's now. I got to get on I got to get on the internet now, and you call tech. And then the guy doesn't give you the right instructions, you lose it for that second. It's meaningless in the big picture, but for that second, you really got to get back on the internet. And so you're hollering at the guy. And in the old days, this is about a month ago, a guy would say, hey, man, what are you hollering at me for? Well, kind of calm down, sir. It's not my fault. I'm trying to help you. And I go, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I lost it for a second. I'm sorry, and I apologize. Now, if I lose it and I say, hey, man, I got to get back on the internet, the guy says, yes, sir, right away. Okay, I'm working as hard as I can. In other words, he knows the recording, the technical device is being recorded. The phone conversation is being recorded by companies. They all do that now because people are working at home. So they have to check. So most technical people working at home, their things are recorded. And then once they're recorded, they can't sass back at me.
No.
Okay,
even though they love it, but yeah, they don't.
Even though they love it in the old days when they knew they weren't recorded because they were working from the office and they can't record everybody in the office. So in other words, it changes, and that's what I'm talking about. The guy's worried about his rent.
Right.
He's being recorded, and so he's working for the man. And the man says, shut the fuck up and or I'll fire you. And that's what Trump is doing, only on a larger scale. It's not a techie. It's everybody who's working for him, and he's the corporation. That's what he's running. Basically, we got a corporate executive as a president, and you can't run a nation like a business. It doesn't work that way. And that's what Trump is trying to do. If this was a business, of course, yeah, you have his base. His base are the investors. And he's trying to protect the investors' money by not delivering COVID-19 supplies. He's saving money. Well, people are dying. Yeah, but I'm saving my investors' money. That's how you run a hospital. That's how you run a business. Right. That's how you run a private hospital. I don't care if people are dying. We can't take any more people. You can't run a country like that. So he's just the wrong man for the wrong job. But this has been going on for 40 years. He just tapped it off with, oh, you want to get corrupt? I'll show you corrupt. And that's all he did.
Well, and I don't think he even considers it corrupt. It's just a lifestyle. I mean, and it's been,
but he went Korea.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a corrupt lifestyle. He knows more mafia people than he does politicians. Let me tell you. Yeah. Just from the New York.
Actually, to him, he doesn't know anybody. I mean, if you would ask him, no, I don't know Roger Stone. I don't know. I've met him or I've been in the same room. It's just he doesn't know anybody. But yet, after his presidency, anybody that's had any trouble is going to be pardoned, or they just commuted Roger Stone, which is funny as hell and just crazy. Wow.
But I
never thought I'd see this.
Well, I see it all the time. I've been in satire all my life. I was in Second City. I was in the Committee. I used to be a stand-up comedian. I was working with Carlin and Pryor and, Lenny Bruce. And that's all I see. I'm trained. I'm a trained mocker.
Right.
I've been brought up that way ever since I was 18. That's all I see is corruption. There's nice times. I have nice times. I mean, I don't go around talking like this all day long. it's just, but if you ask me, I'm going to tell you.
Right.
It's like I say, the last 40 years, easy. And it's just getting more and more and more, little by little. It's not like, something you notice. But with him, he's just so out front because, yes, he doesn't know he's wrong. It's like being an actor. You must protect your character, and your character always comes from righteousness. If I'm an evil killer, I'm killing you not because I like to kill. It's because it's the best thing. And at this point, my best option is to kill you right now. For whatever reason, it's the best option. It's, you're either screwing up the world, or you're going to kill me, or you're a bad person. I've convinced myself of that. Or you're going to get me at some point, or you're going to turn in, or you're going to talk, whatever. So if I'm going to act as the killer, I can't, have a thought in my head unless it's written in the script. That's the Bible, the script. So unless it says he has guilt about killing people, well, then I got to go somewhere else. But unless it says that, I have to righteously kill you, because that's my character. So I have to believe it's right. If I'm the president, or if I'm a housewife, then whatever the housewife is doing, she's doing because she thinks it's right. That's an actor's job. That's not a human being. That's not a Homo sapiens job. That's an actor's job to protect your character. A Homo sapiens job is to do the right thing. That's according to Mr. Lee, Spike Lee. But we don't, and then that's the problem. Animals very rarely do the wrong thing. They may make a mistake, like stepping in a trap. I mean, that's not doing the wrong thing. It's just they didn't watch where they were going, or maybe it was hidden well. But, or being shot by a hunter, that's not the wrong thing. He was shot. But Homo sapiens is supposed to have, logic and reasoning and compassion and knowledge and intelligence and knowing right from wrong. And we're not doing that, at least not in our politics anyway.
Yeah.
Not in this country right now.
I back in the day, I used to, Ted Turner, it used to be WTBS and then TBS.
Yeah.
And then,
right.
They played Escape from Alcatraz so many times. I would watch that. I would say a couple times a month. And then,
really? Wow.
Yeah. And fantastic movie. And then years later, I see you on Seinfeld, and the funny thing about it was that you're debating the whereabouts of a stolen box of raisins. You auditioned for Alcatraz, and then you auditioned for Seinfeld. That's the dichotomy, and the difference there is huge. It was hilarious. I mean, you were absolutely.
Wait a minute, just a second. Hold it. You're dropping out. Is there a connection that you can just screw in a little or twist a little? Because you're dropping out.
I'm in Montana. It's cell phone. I'm going to move my phone up a little bit there. But tell me the story about how you got that job, Escape from Alcatraz. There's a blurb on it, and I saw it on Wikipedia, but that was super interesting to me.
Okay, how I got into Escape from Alcatraz, how
exactly.
Audition and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it was, I have an attitude problem. I mean, you can tell that, but if you ask me, I'll just tell you. I don't have a censor. I mean, I have a learning disability. I have several. I have ADHD. I have OCD and dyslexia. So I don't have a filtering system. I'll just speak my. So anyway, I got the call saying, "Hey, get down to," I was just an auditioning actor back then, and I got the call saying, "Hey, get down to Warner Brothers right away. they're auditioning right now. So what are you doing right now? And I said, nothing. I'm just watching television. Okay, get down there right away. They're having an audition for Clint Eastwood's next big movie. It's going to be a tentpole movie. Get down there right away. Now, in my mind as an actor, anytime somebody says, get down there now, because generally an audition is like, you got to audition Tuesday. They give you like a little lag time. So when they say, get down there right now, only one thing flashes in my mind. Somebody just got fired. They need a replacement right now. So I'm replacing somebody. So right away, I have a chip on my shoulder. Why didn't they hire me in the first place? Why are they hiring me to replace somebody? So I right away, I got an edge. So I'm going down there now. It's out in the valley. And I'm by the beach, so it's a long trip. It's about 45 minutes to an hour till I get there. I'm speeding, and I get there, and sure enough, nobody else is in the room. There's nobody there except me. Obviously, I'm here to replace somebody. So, my attitude is really high now. So I guess I say to the receptionist, I say, well, she says, well, what are you here for? I said, I'm here for the Escape from Alcatraz audition. She says, oh, here. I said, was there any sides, which is just your part? Any sides? And she says, no, but I have a script for you here. And she hands me the script. I said, I can't read this. I'm going to go in a couple of minutes. I can't read the whole script. And I don't even know what part I'm auditioning for. How can I do that? She says, well, I don't know. That's all I have. So I don't even read it. I just throw it. I put it in my lap, and I'm sitting there. And as soon as I sit down and put it in my lap, the door opens up, and this woman says, are you ready, Larry? So I say, yeah. So right away, my attitude is, this is bullshit. I'm not ready. I'll never be ready in time. I don't have the sides. I'm going to be fired. I'm not going to be hired. So I don't care. So I say, yes, I'm ready. When I know I'm not. But I don't care. I don't want this job. I'm going to be fired, and I'm not going to be hired anyway. So I go in the room, and all there is her, this woman, elderly woman, nice person, and an old guy. It turns out he's Don Siegel, who's the director, but I didn't know it at the time. And he's got a white hair, and he's very nice, amenable guy. He's got a smile on his face. He's jaunty, jolly, and he's got an attitude of he's kind of snide. He's kind of funny. I kind of like him. He's got this attitude, So he says, well, Larry, what are you here for? And I go, I don't know. I mean, I just got this call, I just opened out, boom. I'm open, exactly why you left. That's, I'm showing that. And he goes, well, and he just turns away from me. And there's 3 chairs. They're all facing one another. Like in a circle, like around a coffee table, but there's no table. It's just 3 chairs facing one another. So he says, oh, okay, fine. And then he turns to this woman who happens to be the head of casting for Warner Brothers. Well, it's a Clint Eastwood movie, right? She's big time. So he turns to her and he says, he's got a script, she's got a script, and I've got a script in our laps. And he says to her, well, what do we got? What's open? So right away, I'm thinking, they don't even know what I'm here for. He doesn't even know. And then my agent said, by the way, you're auditioning with Clint Eastwood. He's going to be there. So now I'm even nervous about that. When I get in the room, Clint is not there. And the first thing he says is, oh, by the way, Clint isn't showing up. So now I don't even have Clint Eastwood here. So, I mean, this is fuck, man. I'm not into this at all. And he says to her, well, what do we got? And she says, well, there's only 2 parts left. There's the guard, and then there's Charlie Butts. And he looks at me, he says, well, the guard, you want to do the guard? And I go, I don't know. I don't know what the part is. He says, well, the guard, he says to me, he says, well, the guard has to beat up Clint. I don't think you can beat up Clint. Can you beat up Clint? You think you can beat up Clint? I go, I don't think so. He goes, yeah, I don't think so either. He turns to her, he says, nah, he's not good for the, what else? What is the other one? Charlie Butts. He says, yeah, you want to do Charlie Butts? And I go, I don't know what Charlie Butts is. And he goes, well, okay. And then she butts in. She says, could I just interrupt for a second? He goes, all right, what? She hands him the script. She has it turned to a particular page, and she points to it. She's showing him something on the page. she's showing him, and she says, it says here, and she's showing him the description, the screenplay description of Charlie Butts. She says, it says here, Charlie is short, fat, freckles, he's bald, and he's wearing glasses. And he goes, oh, and he looks at me, and then he looks back at her, and he says, well, the audience doesn't have the screenplay. You want to do the Charlie Butts, Larry? And I go, I don't know. Yeah, okay. And he goes, all right. He says, all right, we're going to read together. You want to read together? And I go, okay. I mean, this is like a farce. I've never been in an audition like this. Everything is ridiculous. So he goes, okay. And he says, open the script to page 96. So I open my script. He says, all right, it's just a page and a half. I'll be, you'll read with me. I'll be Clint. Or whoever the other person was. I don't remember. But most of my scenes were with Clint. So he goes, all right, I'll be Clint. You want, he goes, you want time? You want to go outside and just work on this? And I go, no, man, I'll just read. I mean, I was thinking, I'm not going to get this. This is the stupidest thing I've ever, there's that word again. This is just, I'm not getting this at all. So fine. I'm not getting the job. So no, I'll just read it with you now. She says, okay, fine. She goes, blah, blah, blah. I go, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, okay, you got the job. And I just sat there. And he just said it like that. He said, okay. I mean, he didn't even think about it. He just shut the book and he goes, okay, you got the job. And I just sat there and he goes, and he's looking at me with this smirk on his face. And he goes, you don't believe me, do you, Larry? And I go, no, I don't. And he goes, all right, I tell you what. Why don't you go home? Get out of here. Go home. Sit by the phone. See what happens. Get out of here. I go, I should leave? He says, yeah, go. I go, all right, fine. I just left. I drove home, and I go, what the fuck was that all about? When I get home, I did. That's what I did. I sat by the phone. About 20 minutes later, the phone call. It's my agent. Hey, you got it. It's a great job. Congratulations. Go, what the hell? So, all right. So I still don't know who Charlie Butts is. I don't know what the screenplay is about. I didn't take the screenplay with me. So I have to sit there. Okay. I get the screenplay. Fine. I get my part. And it's going to shoot in about, 2 months. So I forget about it. I know I have a job coming in 2 months. Fine. It's up in San Francisco. And then about, 3 weeks before the shoot, I get the script and my part. My part. And I'm reading it, and I thought, okay, it's the reason I liked it. I didn't know anything about the movie or the part. I mean, I had met the guy who wrote it. He was very excited about it. He was a young kid at the time, about my age at the time. And we got along cool, and I thought, well, it'll be a cool shoot. I kind of liked the attitude of the director, really. And I like this guy. So, all right, fine. And I'll be working with Clint Eastwood. But the great thing about it was I didn't have much to say. Very short. There was only 2 or 3 lines per scene. So that was really good because of my dyslexia. It's very difficult for me to memorize long passages of speeches. It takes me a long time to memorize them. I have to work on it. So it saved me a lot of work. So that's why I liked the part. Okay, and I did the part, and that's a whole other story. You want to know how I got the part? That's how I got the part. But the weird thing to me, the weirdest of all weirdnesses to me, and I had no connection to the negotiations at all. In other words, I knew my agent said, you got the part. It's shooting in 2 months or 3 months. We'll contact you when you get your stuff and you're ready to go. So I forgot about it. And then I did the thing, and then the movie came out. Cut to the movie coming out. It's all done. I'm sitting, in the crew. They have a screening for the cast and crew. So that's the first time I ever saw the movie. And I'm watching it, and the credits, I have co-starring Larry Hankin.
Nice. Wow.
Whoa! Are you kidding? Nice.
Yeah.
I was, for all that bullshit, my attitude during the audition, and then forgetting about it for 2 months, and then sitting and going through all the bullshit and the crap that I went through and during the shoot, because I have dyslexia and ADHD and OCD, so that interrupts my social. I'm very poor socially because I misunderstand a lot of things that people say to me in conversation. So I was always misinterpreting what the director was telling me to do. Although we were great friends, he really liked me a lot. I only hung around with Don Siegel, the director. I very rarely hung around with Clint, although, he liked me too. I mean, because I was good at my part. No, that's all they cared about, really. Is when I was, they, Larry, you're up, get in the scene. I did what I was told to do. I was very good in my character. So I was a good actor. So as long as you're a good actor and you understood what was needed of you in the part, I was fine. But socially, I just kept to myself and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of times where Clint would tell me something I wouldn't know what the hell he was talking about because he was using some sort of jargon. I don't know. But so I'd misinterpret it. But he would, after a while, he got to understand that. Okay, that's cool. But to see my name up there as co-starring, I mean, that was just out of the blue, man. And I got a ton of money for that part.
Right.
I mean, more money than I've ever seen in my life, cumulatively, even.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was like an amazing twist of. I never knew what not that I never knew what the next move would be because I didn't believe there would be a next move. It was that every move made just blew my mind a little more. I mean, driving home from the audition, my mind was blown because I didn't know. I kept saying, "What now? What the hell did I just do? What happened? How did I get that? Well, how can I repeat what I just did for him in my other auditions? Give everybody attitude?" Well, I tried that for a while, and I would get the call. Then I would get a call. I'd go home and I'd wait for did I get it or didn't I? And finally, I'd get a call from my agent, and he'd go, "Hey, Larry, what did you do in the audition?" I go, "What do you mean?" That's the first thing that he'd say. "Hi, Larry." I go, "Oh, hi, what's up?" "And what did you just do in that audition?" I go, "Why?" He said, "Well, they said you have an attitude problem." And I go, "Did I get the job?" "No, you didn't." They said, "Talk to him." So I go, "Oh, well, I tried that for Don Siegel. It seemed to work. I was, just, but, sometimes I can't help it. I mean, they just tell me something that is just so off the wall. Or like one director said, he was there for the audition, this director, who wasn't a very good director. And I didn't get the part. But anyway, so I auditioned and I got the audition. But then there was another audition. There was an audition for the director and the writer and the casting director. And then I had to do another audition for the producers and the money people in the studio. So I got past the first audition. I'm going to the second audition. And as I'm waiting in the waiting room, with everybody else to go in, the director came out to me specifically right in front of everybody else. I mean, he whispered to me, but I mean, we're in a room with other actors. And he said, "Okay, Larry, now you're going to go in next." And he's trying to help me. And he says, "Now, when you auditioned for me the last time, that was a week ago. He said, you were kind of low key." He said, I want you to bring it up. I want you to bring it up. I need a little more energy. Now I'll bring you down during the production, when we're on the set. But for these people, you got to bring it up. You got to get a little more energy, okay? So I go, "Yeah, sure, okay." And then he goes back inside. And then I immediately say, "Fuck that. I want to do it the way I want to do it. What do you mean, bring it up?" And then they're going to go, on the set, when you bring it up, they bring me down, they're going to say, "Hey, man, bring it back up." And this is like loudness and energy. So I say, no. So I went in and they did it my way. I just did it low key, the way I got the first audition. And I didn't get the job. And I was perfectly satisfied with that. Now, a lot of people, other actors would say to me, "Yeah, but you should have done it, man." I say, no. I'm not after the money or the job. I'm after doing it my way. In other words, you may think I'm recalcitrant or I'm angry and fighting or being negative. No, I have an agenda. I have I have what I want to do. But outside of Hollywood, has nothing to do with Hollywood. I have ideas in my head. I use audition and my appearance in the screen to test out my theories. I want to help you tell your story. If I can help you tell my story with my skill set, fine. But if I can't use my skill set, then I consider the time I audition for you and the time I memorize the hardship I have trying to memorize your lines and the time I have working for you is time I've wasted working on what I'm about. So that's a weird way to go through life, but that's my philosophy. And that's what I do. So to other people, that's, hey, Larry, what are you doing, man? You could have got that job. No, I mean, I've done it in other times where I've said, where, you can, in a room, you go, there's the waiting room with the receptionist. You just wait with other 5 or 10 other people who kind of look like you and after the same part. It's a very strange situation, really. It's not real at all. It's, just people waiting to outdo you. And so, and then there's a door, the door opens up and they say, next, come in, and you shut the door. Well, one day I was sitting by the door so I could hear the audition. Now, sometimes, not generally, I mean, usually that will help you because you can hear the audition. You can hear what other people are doing. You can either do what they're doing or, in other words, it's information that you can use for your audition. Well, I'm not going to do it that way, or, hey, that's a great way. I can do it even better than that, by using his. So it's a great little hint, I mean, use whatever you can, whatever. Okay. So I'm listening at the door and this guy goes in and he does a great audition. I had to play a killer, a stone cold killer in a war. I was going to kill somebody. I think it was one of these guys who, have PTSD and they just go off and they start killing people just randomly. So it was that kind of guy. So I go in. All right, you're next. And I was right after him. So I go in and I just didn't like the part, really. I mean, I don't know if I wanted to portray a guy doing that. It just was against my, I don't know, my better angels. Let's put it that way. So I don't know. I just had mixed feelings about the part. So I go in and they said, "Okay, you ready to do it? You want to talk about it, or you just want to do it and then we'll talk about it later?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to talk about it." It's okay, yeah, fine. So what do you think? I said, "Well, the guy who was just in here, the other actor?" And right away, they're just puzzled. You just say, "Yeah, what about that?" I said, "Well, I think he really did it well. I think you should use him." Now they're totally stunned. See, but that's, I don't always have to be angry to give you what I'm thinking. I'll just give you what I'm thinking. It could be good news, too. It could be confusing news. I just tell you the truth. So I'm telling them, and they just couldn't believe it. So I said, "Well, why? Why him?" I said, "Well, I think he did it really well, but frankly, I don't know if I could do it as good as him, and I don't know if I even want to do this part. I didn't really understand it until I got here and was listening." So, I mean, they're now trying to coerce me into. They said, "Well, you want to do it anyway?" I mean, now they're interested in me. Well, why don't you just do it anyway? Just let us just see what you have in mind. And I go, I really don't want to do that. And they go, "So you don't want to show us anything?" I go, "No, not really." And they go, "Oh, okay, fine." And I left. And I was perfectly happy. Now, I know other people say, "That was crazy, man, and you could have got the job, or why didn't you? Maybe they'll see you for something else." I understand all that. But that's not the way I work. You know, I mean, it would be different if I go, oh my God, yeah, you're right. Shit. Okay, I'll do it the next time. Oh, I'm sorry, man, I fucked up. No, I don't think that way. I just, maybe it's the OCD, maybe it's the ADHD, maybe it's the dyslexia, and maybe it's just me doing what I want to do. You know? Now, I know I twist a lot of people's underwear by doing that, but I'm sorry. I can't help myself. You know?
I think watching you, especially in Breaking Bad and in Seinfeld, you're extremely believable. So when I see those characters, I mean, that's how I see you. And ironically, you in Seinfeld, you're auditioning, and that's extremely interesting to me because I've never seen that process or what it looks like, and it probably looks extremely different. But you actually threaten Kramer, during that audition, and it's the premises of those episodes are just crazy, and this is just about a box of raisins, and I was like, to me, it's like, how do they do that? I mean, is that good writing? Is acting?
How do they do what?
How do they put together a scene with just about a missing box of raisins and just make it so watchable and so entertaining? I mean, you were amazing, and it was funny because it was so surprising that you threatened Kramer and you're so believable. I didn't realize, that you kind of play this character that's kind of hunched over all the time, but you're 6'4", and I think he's fairly tall as well. So you were more assuming and than he was in that, and I just thought that was super interesting that they gave you such a huge presence in that scene.
No, they didn't. It's just something that I have no control over, and I just learned this over the years. If you put me in any scene, people are gonna watch me. There's no, I mean, they'll watch other people in the scene, but I'm one I just now, right before I went on the air with you, I watched somebody put up on my Facebook page a compilation reel of Tom Pepper is the guy I did for Kramer. The guy, a compilation reel of Friends, of me on Friends, of Mr. Heckles, and I was watching it just now, just before I was talking to you, and I was astounded by the reality of my character. That Larry Hankin wasn't there. That was Tom Pepper. That was really weird. I'm not aware of that. But no, wait a minute. I'm getting the two mixed up. Mr. Heckles is one of the most popular ancillary characters on Friends. Now, I've only been on 5 shows. That show was on for 9 years. And of all the characters, I'm one of the most popular. Now, I was only in 5 shows. I only have very little scenes in each one of those. I've only been on 5 times, very little. But people remember me. Now, I don't know why, but even as a kid, I would stand out. But that has to do with my bone structure. I mean, I'm not kidding around. Cinematographers always come over to me in major shoots. So these are major cinematographers. This is not television. This is movies. They always come up to me afterwards and they say, it's a great pleasure filming you because of your bone structure. And I go, what do you mean? Well, because of the light, and the thing is your face is carved in such a way as you just stand out. I mean, you could be in the background. It really doesn't matter. And when Don Siegel, when we were shooting the film, every once in a while, he'd put me in the scene just to be in the background. He would say, like, Larry, get in your cell. And I go, I'm not in this scene. He says, well, you are now. Get in the scene. Get in the cell. I want you to show. There's a hole. He said, there's a hole. What they were doing was they were shooting Clint Eastwood talking to the warden. But it was a side view, so they were face to face. So it was their profiles, from one side of the screen to the other side of the screen, facing each other. So in the center, there was nothing. And there was a cell behind them. So he said, get in your cell. I need a face in there. Get in your cell. Just do something. I don't care what. So just, you're just in the background. I just need to fill that little space. So he would be doing that, every once in a while. He'd say, hey, get in the... But then when he shot the scene, after the first take, he goes, cut. Hey, Larry, come here. Now, I was in the background, so he didn't want to leave the camera. So he said, Larry, would you come here? So I go, all right, now what did I do? I figure I did something wrong, So I get out of the cell, and he goes, what are you doing back there? I said, well, I'm playing chess with a checkerboard. I mean, I'm playing checkers with a chessboard, with a chess set. What is that? He was asking me. What does that mean? He said, well, I went to the prop guy and I said, I'm in the scene. I'm in my cell. I wanted to be doing something. I just don't want to be sitting staring. Like so do you have a checkerboard? I'll play checkers. I'll just be doing something. I'll be playing checkers. And the prop guy said, I don't have checkerboard, but I have a chess set. So as Charlie Butts, I'm telling the director, as Charlie Butts, the Alcatraz doesn't have a chess set, but they do have checker sets. So Charlie Butts took a chess set. No, yeah, I'm getting mixed up. But they don't have a checkerboard, but they have a chess set board. So the Alcatraz gave me a chess set, and Charlie Butts can't play chess, so he's playing checkers with a chess set. And Don Siegel looked at me and he goes, oh. So I go, well, I'll stop that if you don't want me to do that. And he goes, no, keep doing what you're doing. I just wanted to find out what the hell you were doing. Go back and keep doing what you're doing. And it told me that no matter what I'm doing, people are watching me. I was way in the background. If you watch the movie, you can see me. You can't really see what I'm doing. There's just somebody in a cell back there. That's all. But in Seinfeld and Friends and Breaking Bad, I'm not that as a character, a written character on the page. I'm not that visible. I'm not that on screen. I'm not that important. And yet, people see me, so there's nothing I can do about that. I mean, I'm not thinking about that. I'm not trying to be, and there's one thing I hate is people who upstage other actors. If anything, I'll fade back if somebody has center stage. I'm not trying to wheedle my way in. So I'm serious about acting. Once the camera starts rolling, man, I'm like in the groove. I'm there. So and it shows with I'm amazed, and even my other actor friends have said in Escape from Alcatraz, they said what a good actor I am, and I'm not trying to be a good actor. I'm just trying to do my job. I'm trying to be Charlie Butts. I'm not thinking about acting. I'm thinking about who am I? What's going on here now? I'm in Alcatraz. I'm a prisoner. I broke into a store and that's not Clint Eastwood. That's, what's his name? That was a real guy. Yeah, but anyway. But, so I'm talking to him. And then people say, hey, man, I watched it the other day, man. That's really cool, at Charlie Butts. And I'm going, I guess, but if you told me, yeah, I mean, that's not where I'm at. I don't think I'm normal, frankly, but I like the abnormality that I bring to my job. In the real world, it's kind of taxing, but as far as acting and entertaining, I don't know. I just enjoy being in front of a camera. It's the camera that's the turn on for me, not Clint Eastwood or Don Siegel. Although Don Siegel is a good human being, man. I just hang around with him a lot. He's gone now, but
so
he was a good guy.
You have an amazing website. I was looking at your art. It's interesting to me because I love people who are creative in many facets. So how does art rank if you're painting? I mean, which would you rather have a lifestyle of art or acting? I mean, painting or acting?
Well,
I mean, they're both.
Have you ever heard of?
They're both pretty amazing, and I love what you do.
Yeah.
I would describe. I mean, if people haven't seen your art, to me, it's kind of if Banksy and Andy Warhol and Jackson Pollock had a kid. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's right, man. Banksy is one of my heroes, man. And Andy Warhol. Yeah, you got it. You understand my art. That's cool. Do you know who Charles Eames is? Have you ever heard of Charles
absolutely.
Eames?
Yeah, I'm into art.
Well, he's my hero. Now, Charles Eames did a lot of things. He was an eclectic artist. He was an eclectic human being. I grew up because my parents were very anti-intelligence, intellectualism, curiosity, anti-learning, anti-everything. Right wing isn't even the word for them. They were just in a category of their own. I had a very bare, sparse house as far as art, and there was no art in my house. There was no books in my house. There were collections. They had the full Encyclopedia Britannica and the full set of literature through the ages. Like Hugo and Cervantes and Mark Twain and all the great books. I think it was the Great Book series, but they only bought it so that when guests came, they saw it in the bookcase. I grew up with Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, and in books or in the encyclopedia. In other words, I'm very eclectic, and Charles Eames was the only kind of artist that I could see I was in the category with. That he, designed cars and he designed buildings and he was a painter and he did a lot of different things. His art covered a lot of things. He wrote books and stuff. So I guess that's the ADHD. My mind is just all the time. So I don't have a favorite. I started out as the youngest thing I could remember when I was like 5 I always wore costumes. I loved my parents to buy me, like an army suit or a cape. I'm always tying towels around my neck and being Superman or Batman or somebody. And I was always editing little Super 8 movies when I was like 10 or 11 or 12. I had little plastic little reels. And I was always drawing, even in public school. I'd sit in the back with my cartoonist friend. And during math class, we would just be passing cartoons. We had these little contests where you'd pass notes back and forth. I would draw, and it was just the alphabet. You had to do the script alphabet capitals. Like you make a capital script A. I would write a capital script A, cursive they called it, cursive A, and I would pass it to him. He sat in the desk next to me, and then he would draw a cartoon out of it. In other words, if that was the first part of the cartoon, something that looked like an A, and it really was an A, but then he would have to make that A finish the cartoon. It was like a lion, it was a side view of a lion, the top, the bottom. I don't know how you did it, but it was like, and then we would pass these letters. He would do a cursive F, and I would have to turn it into so I was always drawing or painting or being in the poetry class for writing. I always wanted to get laid. It was high school, there's all girls in the class. There's just all girls and me. I thought, wow, man, I'll get a date easy for the prom. It's
a good goal.
Didn't work out that way. But but I was also absorbing writing. These great poets were, I thought that was really cool. That, wow, I could date one of these girls and also, learn these poems. They were really great writing. I was into writing. I liked the way they were written, the Ballad of Reading Jail and, Shakespeare. Wow. He could say cool things. That was the thing. Shakespeare was Shakespeare until in the poetry club. I thought, wow, that's a cool thing. I didn't know Shakespeare said cool things, So anyway, it's hard for me to choose acting over painting. I did dream one day of putting my art up on a museum wall, but now it's up on my Facebook wall or my website wall. And now I'm turning them into T-shirts. There's a lot of people who they can't afford the paintings are $500 each. They're 4 feet by 5 feet. I mean, they're big. On the website, they're small. You can't see them. I mean, you can see them, but they're not 4 feet by 5 feet. So we're going to try to maybe make them a little smaller paintings. They're prints. But now we're going to put them on T-shirts. So that'll be like $30 or $40. That'll be a little more expensive. So, in my spare time now, I'm writing screenplays. So now I'm writing. I wrote a book.
Yeah, you wrote a book.
And then, So and I paint. I don't know, man. I would like to be able to just concentrate on one thing. It's not good. It's a curse. To me, it's a curse. Because, if I'm doing painting and acting and then I'm learning the guitar and writing songs now and writing a book, I mean, in 1 year, I'd rather just do one thing for the entire year. Like when I was in the committee, I was in the committee I was in Second City and then the committee. So together, I was in both those improv groups for 10 years. I was doing one thing for 10 years. By my 5th or 6th year of improvising, I was hot shit, man. No kidding. I was really a good improviser. But I put in 5 years of work, man.
That's a long time.
If you ain't good at, if you ain't good at something after 5 years, what the hell are you doing in it? So, but I put the work in, man. And not only me, it was the director and the other actors. I mean, all of us rehearsed 3 days a week. And it wasn't just rehearsed improvising. We were rehearsing physical exercises. We were doing mirror exercising. We were doing workshop, not rehearsing for the show. We were rehearsing technique. Well, if you rehearse technique, it's like circus acts, They don't just, do a circus for a month and then, wait until next year. They go down to Sarasota, Florida, and they rehearse 9 months for 1 month's worth of touring. Yeah, then you can do like 4 or 5 somersaults before catching the next swinging, bar. Or, you rehearse with the Lions for 9 months before you get in a cage for, 10 minutes with them. So that's the way I work. I mean, you got to put the time in. So it's a curse to me because I would rather work on one thing for a year than 5 things in a year. It's you get a lot of work done, but your progression is slowed down by stopping and getting on to something else.
I wish everybody right now would kind of work on maybe personal creativity and something more positive and make the world a better place, because what a good opportunity. And people, if you don't see it as an opportunity to improve yourself, it's you're kind of, I think, missing the point of the whole pandemic.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Let everybody know where your website is and what's on there, because it's a beautiful website.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, and I got my films on there. Is on there. I make little film shows. So it's the reallarryhankin.com, and it's the reallarryhankin.com because larryhankin.com is owned by some a-hole in Canada who bought it when I wasn't looking. And he won't sell it to me. Well, for some huge price.
That's what I was going to ask you. Who in the hell owns LarryHankin.com? Because
this asshole.
I just
Googled Adam somebody.
I just Googled it and it redirects you to some wacky business page. It doesn't even make sense to me. But
right. But he just owns it. He didn't put anything up on it.
Right.
He just owns it, and he's waiting someday But no, so I got the real LarryHankin.com, and on it is my prints, and then in about 2 or 3 weeks, all 44 of my prints will be available for T-shirts to put on your T-shirt, white or blue or red T-shirt, whatever. There's all kinds of colors, all kinds of prints and paintings and stuff. And then there's my all my film shorts. It's like I think there's only like 19 up, but I have about 30 or 40 on my website, which I'll put up now and again. But right now, there's a couple of them won prizes. A lot of them won prizes.
Hey,
that's me. That's the real me.
Do you have any videos of stand-up out there anywhere on YouTube or anywhere else?
Yeah. Yeah. There's one. There's several which are not too good. They're not because people just put them up. But the one there's one called San Francisco at the Marsh.
Right.
It's a San Francisco show recorded at the Marsh Theater, MARSH Theater, and if you can get the whole show, that's pretty good. There's a part about Emmett. I divide it into 2 parts. One is the stories of Emmett Jones. Wait a minute. I got too many characters. The fables of Sometimes Jones. I tell Sometimes Jones stories in the Marsh show. Those are really great, and that I'm gonna. Those are in a book, and those are the best writing so far.
Nice.
So they're in the Marsh show, and then some of the Emmett Demas character that I do in that Marsh show is pretty good, and then some of it I need to work on it. So, you can just speed through it or watch it. They're pretty funny. They have an attitude. They have a point of view, and they're funny. But I'd like to do them again. But the Sometimes Jones stories, Sometimes Jones and a magic credit card, Sometimes Jones speaks to God, Sometimes Jones in the quicksand. Those are really great. If you can, they may even be up on YouTube.
I'll check it.
But look for
check there. Yeah.
But here's the thing. Look up Larry Hankin on YouTube. Look up Sometimes Jones on YouTube, and look up Emmett Demas, EMMETTDEEMUS, and they might be on there. The Outlaw Emmett Demas. I'm sorry, the Outlaw Emmett Demas. There's 3 of them. Outlaw Emmett Demas, and there's that. The Outlaw Emmett Demas, the Outlaw Emmett Demas and the Porno Queen, and the Outlaw Emmett Demas and Willie Jones. Those are 3 8-minute film shorts that got prizes all over the world.
We got about 30 seconds, and I'd like you just let them know about your book too, because I'm going to get a copy of the book.
Okay, it's called the Loopholes Dossier. The Loopholes, plural. The Loopholes Dossier. And there's I have 7 Sometimes Jones fables in it, plus a political satire and a homeless notebook. The notebook of a homeless guy. I was homeless for a year. There's a diary of a homeless guy in there. Yeah. The Loopholes Dossier.
And check out Larry Hankin's website at thereallarryhankin.com. And Larry has been inside the guest studio today. Larry, thank you so much. I appreciate this. And you got the big one coming up in August.
Oh yeah, the Friends. I don't know what they call this, Friends Festival or whatever.
Well, but I was talking about your birthday, man.
No, when is that coming up?
I don't know when that is, but your birthday is next month, and that's the big one.
Oh, the big one. I don't know what the big one means.
I don't know either.
Okay, and also that's a lie.
It is? I'm just going by Wikipedia. I'm just impressed that you have a Wikipedia page.
I've never told anybody my real birthday, so whatever is out there, I always change it.
All right.
But it's not the truth. Okay?
Right. I was gonna send you a present, but I'll wait till I find out the real one.
Well, you're gonna wait a long time. But thank you very much anyway.
Larry, thank you so much. I hope to talk to you soon, and good luck, and be creative during this time of unrest. So
okay,
take
thank
care,
you,
sir.
Cameron. Okay, bye.